but the seller says, no, I'm not doing any seller credit like in this scenario. Or we run into a situation where our offer is higher than the appraised value comes in at. Well, now we got to make adjustments again, because a bank is only going to lend based on the appraised value or the contract, whichever's less.
Hi, my name is Brian Best with Exit King Realty, Sun and Sand Living. Welcome to our channel. You know, we are dedicated to being your guide on your real estate journey, whether you're looking to buy or sell, maybe you're looking for a trusted vendor, maybe you're just looking for the greatest spots that Sarasota has to offer. We got you covered. Let us be your local guide here and your one-stop shop.
Absolutely, Brian. And I'm Philip Zoller. I'm a mortgage loan originator with Nexa Mortgage. To be your ultimate source of everything real estate related in Sarasota, we need your help. Please do us a favor, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified every time we release a new video. And do us a favor, drop a like and a comment. It helps boost our visibility so that more people like you can discover our channel.
And last week, we talked about the new buyer agent agreement form. And if you missed that video, make sure you go back and watch that one before watching this, because it might confuse a few things. But let's say a seller is unwilling to pay a buyer's agent commission. What does that look like for the buyer? Do they come with cash? Can they roll it in their mortgage? Like, what are their options?
Yep. So to help tackle some of these questions and bring some clarity, today we're bringing in a good friend of mine, Brian Shields. Not only is he a great friend of mine, but he is a mentor of mine. He's actually who got me involved in the industry, and he is my team lead at Nexa Mortgage. Brian has 20 years of experience in the industry, and he's going to help break down what things will look like as far as the NAR agreement is concerned on the lending side.
Great.
Just to give everybody kind of a little bit of a background on what has happened, there was a class action lawsuit that some sellers, some home sellers, decided that they were a little upset that they had to pay buyer's agent commissions. At least that's what it looked like on the closing statement. And they actually put this lawsuit out, and they actually won against the National Association of REALTORS, right? So that left us scrambling as to what we're going to do, how we're going to move forward. And this means for buyers, I need you guys to listen up. For buyers especially, you're going to have to sign a buyer's agent agreement form when you go to look at new houses. Phil's a buyer. He calls me. He says, hey, I want to go see 123 Main Street. And I have to say, okay, Phil, well, go ahead. Let's set up a meeting in my office, and we'll talk about everything about 123 Main Street. We'll talk about the industry. We'll take a look at that neighborhood, but we will need to sign an exclusive buyer's agent agreement form. And this really kind of scares people off. Now, here's the big change. Because the sellers decided that they didn't want to pay a buyer's agent commission, that means the buyers, if a seller is not willing to pay that commission, which they still could, if they're not willing to pay that buyer's agent commission, that means the buyer is going to have to pay that, most likely out of pocket. So I kind of want to know, what does that look like from a mortgage standpoint? Can they roll their commissions into their loan?
Yeah, and that's a good question. And I believe the mortgage industry, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, and I think HUD are all sitting. I think they're sharpening their pencils. I think there's going to be some changes. The VA has already made the adjustment. It'll take effect August 10th, but the VA will allow you to roll in your fees, or the buyer fees, up to, they say up to a reasonable amount, so up to 3%. They'll let you roll that into the loan amount. And there's a gray area misconception on the VA loans. They say that you can only get up to 4% seller credit, but that's they call that for standard customary fees. You can actually go way above that with seller credits. We've seen a lot of the 2-1 buy down the last couple of years. That doesn't impact the 4%. And this won't either. This allows them a level playing field, I guess, because the FHA is not allowing this yet. The FHA, you can do your 6% seller credit, but the seller says, no, I'm not doing any seller credit like in this scenario. Or we run into a situation where our offer is higher than the appraised value comes in at. Well, now we got to make adjustments again, because a bank is only going to lend based on the appraised value or the contract, whichever's less.
Correct.
So, so those are things we got to take into consideration. So right now, and I think we're in a sweet spot. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're in a sweet spot because as soon as the average mortgage rate gets to about that 6% or more, I believe we're going to see an influx of more buyers than we have homes. We're going to see another supply and demand problem.
Yep.
And I think with that, we see seller credits quickly go away, the seller concessions. And so I really feel like, and I hope I'm not dragging this out too much, I feel like we have a small window to really take advantage of getting the ultimate seller credits, still come in at appraised value, but not be stuck having to either sign like an appraisal gap waiver, which means you're willing to pay the difference between the appraised value and the agreed upon price, or the seller's not going to come back down on the contract price just because the appraisal came in lower than you guys agreed upon. That's an out for them too. They can back out of the transaction. So I think if I can really sum it up, I think now more than ever, there truly needs to be a partnership between the loan officer and the real estate agent as we together serve our clients for their best interest and fight for them for their best interest. And I think that's probably more important than it's been in a really long time.
If you cannot roll the commissions in,
Mhm.
their only other option is to pay out of pocket. Correct?
Yep. Yep.
Are
Either
there
out of pocket or yeah.
Yeah. Are there any like down payment and closing cost assistant programs that would be beneficial? Because I have a lot of buyers who they have enough for their down payment, they
Right.
barely have enough for the inspection, right? And now we're throwing this, the 2.5%, 3% on top. Well, they don't have that money. So
Right.
how are they going to go about being able to do that?
Unless the house is just like, aura and butterflies, rainbows, and unicorns flying out of it. It's not going to get the attention if you're not willing to, pay a buyer's agent. So we'll look at a couple of things. Now there are down payment assistance programs, not really closing cost assistance, but down payment assistance. But with those, they're higher risk, so they're going to be a much higher interest rate. Most of those start in the 7s. And then they have some strings attached to them. A lot of them have you have to pay back the down payment amount that they assisted you with if you sell or refi the house in 5 years. So there's strings attached to those. So not only do you have a higher rate, a lot of times you have a higher closing cost because those sometimes have an origination fee attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're in a pickle again because now you might have got down payment assistance for 3% down, but now you got 4 or 5% in closing costs. So what you're just treading water and the sharks are circling on that one. You can increase the loan amount if the comps and stuff support it, or the sell price. We can do as little on conventional loans. We can do as little as 3% down and still get fantastic rates for buyers. You can use gift funds from a family member, your employer, something like that. So I think it's all of us, even the seller's agent. Like Brian, if you're the buyer's agent, Phil's the loan originator, and Bob Dubins is the seller's agent. It's us communicating like, how do we put this together to make everybody involved, happy and feel like they've been taken care of. Because otherwise, they're going to have to come out of pocket with not only their normal closing costs or anything that didn't get covered by seller credits, but also what they've committed to with buyer's agent commissions.
Because the ultimate goal on our side as buyer's agents is we're not just looking to find a house. We're looking to find the right house for the buyer. You're looking to find the right program that's going to get them in the door, right?
100%.
So there are going to be, let's say, Phil calls me up and says, hey, I want to look at 5 homes, right? I need you to call because I don't have money to come out of my pocket. And this is going to become reality. Okay, we're going to call the 5 homes because now commission's not listed on the MLS. So I have to call all 5 homes. Okay, now 3 homes, Mr. Buyer, 3 homes are offering a buyer's agent commission and 2 homes are not. Which ones do you want to go see, right? Do you want to see all 5 homes or do you want to see the 3 homes that are offering? What do you want to do? This is totally your choice.
Average sell price in the Phoenix market is about, it's about mid 4s. So if you're not having to come with not only your closing costs, which are usually 2 to 2.5, 3%. Now you're having to come in with to pay your agent too. I mean, you got your down payment minimum of 3%. So you got, let's just say the loan amount's 400, you got 12,000 there. You got 3% in closing costs. You got there, so now we're at 24. And then if you got, 2% or, 2% in each, like you're in the, mid 30s now. And all of a sudden you got to come out 30 grand for your minimum down payment home.
Hey, Brian, real quick, you touched on something as far as the down payment assistance programs are concerned. You mentioned that a lot of these DPA programs act as a second lien, and in the event of a sale or a refinance, that lien would need to be repaid. Are there any other DPA programs, maybe like an empowered DPA by EPM, that would maybe act as a grant and that are forgivable? And if so, can you kind of speak on the difference between the two of those?
Yeah, so Equity Prime Mortgage out of Atlanta, Georgia, they go by EPM. They have a down payment assistance program that's available in every state except for Washington State. And that's just because Washington gets a ton of federal money for their Washington bond program. So they're playing the monopoly game up there. But this program is FHA based. So what they do is they give you down payment assistance of 3.5%, so on that 400,000, they're giving you, was it 14,000 in down payment assistance. There's no monthly payment. You don't have to qualify with a monthly payment. So your debt to income ratios, also known as DTI, those don't get impacted. And the nice thing about this one is it's completely forgiven at closing. With the time that records, there's no repayment. There's no monthly payment. And then you still qualify for the standard FHA streamline, which to simplify it is pretty much by the time it's time to make your 7th payment, you can streamline that into a days market, whatever the days market FHA loan is, a rate at that time. So that program itself usually starts about 7.75%. It might come down a little bit as the market corrects, but in 7 months, you could be, if the market continues to do what it does, your FHA loan could go from 7.75 to upper 5s, maybe low 6s. So that's a fantastic program. It's kind of a unicorn. There's not much else out there like it. And that program is available because of the heart of service and the appreciation that the owner of that company, Eddie Perez Jr., has for his citizenship in America. His family is Cuban refugees, and he calls everything, instead of living the dream, he says we're living the American gift. And so he has this program. He's associated himself with people for the grant to allow us to bring this program to the table. And there's not a lot of restrictions. Like, it's 150% the median income for most areas. So like Arizona, as long as you don't make over like 155,000, you can qualify for that loan. If you make 155,000 and you need down payment assistance, we got to talk to your financial. But anyway, you see what I mean? So that's a program that doesn't fit the norm. And that's a program that Nexa and my team really specialize in. In fact, we close more of those than any other mortgage company in the nation.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so what I'm hearing you say is this thing isn't going to be perfect. We're going to work together, buyer's agent, seller's agent, and mortgage loan originator to find the best scenario. And I think that is key. This is going to open up true transparency and making sure that everybody's on the same page as far as how we're going to make this transaction happen. So I do appreciate you coming on today and letting us pick your brain a little bit on moving forward and what this looks like. But you gave us some definite great ideas for moving forward.
I really feel like this is the point where everyone involved really needs to come together. There's, we see it from the behind the curtain, right? You as a buyer's agent and the sellers. There's always been this like, you're on that side, he's on that side, I'm on this side. There's never been a unity between, not usually anyway. There's not a unity between the parties. This is the eye-opening thing, that if we can bring unity between all of us and we all truly work together for the best interests of our clients, they're going to be set. Sellers are going to be set, and you and I don't have to worry about when payday is, because we'll be doing our job from the right place. And when we do it from the right place, word gets around, and word gets around creates a business of abundance.
Right.
Yeah.
So as we wrap this up, guys, if you're a buyer and you're confused about what's going to be going on, feel free to reach out to me. My name is Brian Best, Exit King Realty, Sun and Sand Living. My phone number is 941-587-2551. Let's set up that initial buyer consultation, and we can even bring Phil in on the conversation as well to make sure that we're putting you with the best mortgage program that's going to get you the best benefit, and we're going to help find you the right house.
Once again, my name is Philip Zoller. I'm a loan originator with Nexa Mortgage, and I want to thank you again, Brian, for taking some time and helping to break down some of this stuff, maybe offer some clarity on some of the changes that are going to be happening in the industry. Your heart definitely shows through, man, and I'm gracious for you. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. It was an absolute honor. Yeah.